Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm from HDIN Research. Today, we're talking about Ocular Therapeutix. Their mission? To stop people from having to get needles poked in their eyes every few weeks. Think about that for a second. Most of us can't even handle a paper cut, and these patients are basically living in a low-budget horror movie. We call this breaking the frequency barrier. It's about turning a painful routine into a long-distance relationship. Let's dive in. First, the too long didn't read version. We're watching a company transition from being a nice-to-have post-surgery tool to becoming the heavyweight champion of the retina market. It's like moving from selling high-end bandages to reinventing the entire surgical robot. Ocular is at a pivot point. For years, they were the eye drop replacement guys. Now, they're going retina first. Their secret sauce is the Elutyx platform. Imagine a tiny, invisible sponge that sits in the eye and slowly leaks medicine for 9 months. It's the difference between having to recharge your phone every hour versus once a week. In the biotech world, that's not just an upgrade, that's a revolution. Let's talk about the pile of gold. The US retinal market is worth $9.4 billion. To put that in perspective, that's enough to buy a private island for every single person in this room, and still have enough left over to build a space station. There are over 8 million people waiting for a better solution. That's a massive audience, and currently, the theater they're sitting in is very uncomfortable. Here's the complication. The current gold standard drugs work, but they are they're like that fancy car that breaks down every 200 miles. Patients have to show up, get an injection, and do it all over again in a month. It's exhausting. Ocular's solution, AXPAXLI, wants to cut that hassle factor by nearly 90%. If you could go to the dentist once every 3 years instead of every 6 months, wouldn't you? How do they do it? 3 pillars. 1. Ultra durability. We're talking 9 months of peace. 2. They use a small molecule drug called axitinib. It's tough, it doesn't spoil easily, and it gets the job done. 3. Safety. This tech has already been in 750,000 eyes. It's not an experiment, it's a proven veteran wearing a new uniform. Look at this bar chart. The competition, the big pharma guys, are over here struggling to hit the 4-month mark. Ocular is aiming for the moon, targeting 9 months. In a world of sprinters, Ocular is building a marathon runner. If this lands, the current market leaders are going to look like they're standing still. Now, let's look at the checkbook. This is where things get interesting. Or, as we say in the industry, where we separate the dreamers from the builders. The numbers look scary at first. Revenue is down, and losses are up, but look closer. They spent nearly $200 million on research and development last year. To a normal person, that sounds like a disaster. To an analyst, that's rocket fuel. You don't get to the moon by saving money on gas. They are burning cash to build a future where they own the market. Let's talk about the leak. This donut chart shows GTN gross to net. Think of it as the middleman tax. For every dollar of medicine they sell, they actually only keep about 48 cents. The rest goes to discounts and rebates to keep the doctors happy. It's a tough neighborhood, which is exactly why they need a blockbuster drug like AXPAXLI to change the rules of the game. Time for some high finance karaoke. Our DuPont analysis shows a net profit margin of negative 500%. Translation: for every dollar coming in, $5 are going out. Again, sounds crazy, right? But in biotech, this is the pre-hero phase. They are underutilizing their assets because their biggest asset, the drug, is still in the lab. They're basically a Ferrari idling at a red light. Is the Ferrari going to run out of gas? Not anytime soon. They just raised $445 million. That's a liquidity moat wide enough to keep the sharks away until 2028. They have enough cash in the bank to finish their science project without having to beg for more money next week. The final stretch. What could go wrong, and what's the plan to win? Mark your calendars. February 2026 is the big one, the SOL-1 trial results. This is the make or break moment. If the data is good, this company's value goes from Subway sandwich to fine dining overnight. Then comes the FDA filing in late 2026. It's a tight schedule, but the runway is clear. Beyond the billions, there's a human story. By 2030, there will be 8 million people at risk of going blind. If Ocular succeeds, they aren't just making money, they're giving millions of people their sight and their independence back. They have a patent moat that lasts until 2044. That's a long time to do a lot of good. So, is Ocular Therapeutix flipping the script or just burning cash? My take: they've built a fortress of cash and a platform that the market desperately needs. It's high risk, high reward, and definitely not boring. If you want the full 200-page version of this, email us at sales@hdinresearch.com. Until next time, keep your eyes on the prize and maybe keep the needles away from them. Thank you.